My presentation is called Rick Weil, Loser and Failure. And I'm going to prove to you today that that is just the case. And if you don't mind, I'm going to blow up a few balloons while I'm talking to you. Now the last class, it's going to be hard to beat. They were great, weren't they, Mr. Wendell? They were amazing. But I've got faith in you, that you guys can be better than that class. Well, let's see what we can do with that.
I want one.
Now, thank you for only wanting one. Sometimes I get people that say, I want 3, I want 12. But that's for a little bit later, a few minutes later. But anytime I perform, anytime I present as a speaker, I have to have a message. And my message today is, I'm a loser and I'm a failure. Now I can prove that. Let me show you this. Here, this was me when I turned 50 years old. That's me on the right, incidentally. And I weighed 205 pounds. I was fat. There's no saying I was overweight, I was anything else. I was the before of Jared from Subway. I just let life get away from me, and I got really, really heavy. So, I trained for a marathon, and I dropped 50 pounds. That's my trainer, me on the left again, incidentally. So, that was my trainer on the right for the marathon. So I lost 50 pounds. Because like I said, I'm a loser. I lost 50 pounds. Some of it I lost in my face. My face got really skinny. I put 10 pounds in my face. I didn't measure my face. I wasn't exactly sure how you would really do that. So I kind of made that part up. But I lost a lot of weight and it changed my whole appearance. Now I've since put a little weight back on because I actually lost too much weight for the marathon. So when I say to you, I'm a loser, now you can believe me. And it's a good thing. When I first said I was a loser, you probably thought, well, that's what I call people, you know, oh, you're a loser, you're a loser. Well, in my case, if you said I'm a loser, I'd say, thank you, I lost a lot of weight. But now we get to the other word, and my title of this thing is failure. I don't have any play on words that I can use for failure. I can't say, oh, I'm a failure, I failed 50 pounds. It doesn't make any sense. So I think many of you can relate, because somewhere in your life you might have failed at something. The first thing I can remember is when I took German in high school. This was my grade on my report card. And I thought F was for fantastic. But my parents said, no, it means you failed. And I thought, oh, yeah, I did kind of goof off in Herr Wells's class and didn't really study my modal auxiliaries, and why I remember that now, all these years later, I don't know. So I must have learned something. But I failed. I failed that grading period. And I took that and I said, all right, what did I do wrong? Because I wasn't going to let that failure get me down. So I learned from that. There's other things I've learned from as failures. This right here, I know it's hard to believe that anybody would marry me, but this was actually my third wife. Because my first 2 wives, those marriages were failures. My fault, their fault, I don't know whose fault it was, but it ended up where they were failures. So I learned from them. One thing I learned, don't marry someone named Margot. Oh boy, that was a mistake. Now maybe it was them who made the mistake by marrying me. But for some reason, this nice lady has been with me for 12 years now. And it's wonderful. Maybe it's because I learned a lot from the other 2 marriages that were failures. This was me back in the late 80s when I actually broke 9 world records in the bench press. I missed a lot of lifts before I went to the World Championships and I made a 556-pound bench press in front of international judges, and I was in the 181-pound class. I missed a lot of lifts before accomplishing this goal. I also tore a lot of muscles, sprained a lot of ligaments, I hurt myself a lot, and those would be considered failures. So I learned how to train smarter, how to give myself more recuperation time, how to take the right supplements, how to do everything. What I would see was learning from those failures. So I turned all those failures, no, really, cut it out. I turned all those failures into successes. I know, I love that part. No one ever claps for me. I'm kidding. All right, so all of the things that you've done in your life, that you look back, and I'm telling you, I remember having students. I used to be an algebra teacher, and I remember having students who would come to my 9th grade algebra class, and they still didn't know how to divide. And they would tell me, well, my 6th grade teacher told me I was stupid and I'd never learn this. I was shocked, and I said, you are not stupid. Your teacher was stupid to tell you that. And then I would go about and show them how to divide. And all of you are so smart. I came from a school this morning where I presented. Now all I did was make balloons because the students at that school over in Pinellas County, they're all mentally retarded and in wheelchairs and disabled. And a lot of them didn't even know I was there because they're never going to have a normal life. It's not possible for them. But I go to that school every year and I make balloons for them, and some of them know I'm there, some of them don't. But you guys have a shot. You guys can do anything you want, and I can prove it because I've done it. And remember, I'm a loser and a failure. So if you take the, well, all right, the loser part, but the failure part. If you take all of your failures and make them into successes, you'll do anything you want to do. I know it's hard to believe, but when you look at certain words like that, failure and success, we automatically identify failure is bad, success is good. If success was good, then why are there so many alcohol rehab places out in Hollywood? Those people are successes, right? They're movie stars. But they drink too much, they do too much drugs, and they end up in rehab. So is success necessarily always good? Can you imagine if you couldn't walk out and go to a Walmart without all these people coming up, let me have your autograph, let me have your autograph? It might not be as great as you might think it would be. So when you look at different words like that, like here's 2 more words that we look at, hot and cold. Well, is one good and one bad? Well, if you're getting ready to take a shower, you might want hot water, not cold water. But if you're getting ready to have a nice cold glass of Coca-Cola, you probably want that to be ice cold and not hot. So there's 2 words that you really can't identify, one is good and one is bad. Or how about if you're studying for an exam in the library? You've studied for exams, I'm sure you have. You want it quiet. Because if it's like you guys are being so quiet right now, because if you were loud, you wouldn't hear me. And then my message wouldn't get to you. So when it's quiet, you can study, you can meditate, you can watch TV. But if you go to a rap concert, you want it loud. Can you imagine if you go to see, I don't know, my favorite rap artist, and I know you're going to laugh because he's old, but I'm old. My favorite rap artist was Sir Mix-a-Lot. Do you remember Sir Mix-a-Lot?
No.
Yeah.
Remember him? Oh, Sir Mix-a-Lot, I thought Sir Mix-a-Lot was great. But if I went to see Sir Mix-a-Lot, and he got up there, and he went, I'd be like, I can't hear you! I paid good money, come on, you gotta be loud! And then he'd say, okay. You can't believe the way she snores because she blows down doors. The babe's got the kind of face only a mother adores. A big basketball head and 10-inch feet. Big lips, no hips in his mouth. I couldn't put her in the county or the training room. When it comes to work from poverty, well, she drinks it. When it comes to Kool-Aid, she drinks it in pints, been in school for 20 years, and she's still in the ninth. That's what I want to hear. Not, I want it loud. You didn't think I was going to rap at you, did you? All right. Big